Hey there, well welcome back to my channel. I'm Chip Jones, also known as the Preppy Gardener, and today I thought I would bring you to work here at Sanders Nursery in Broken Arrow. You know, on our last tour I finally got back in the swing of things, being back home, but it's been so wet at home. We've had so much rain, still haven't been able to do a lot of gardening, so I thought today it would be fun to actually bring you into work because there's so many things that are blooming. We're getting in more and more plants over from our growing houses, bringing them into the greenhouse. I'm actually going to take you all around the greenhouse. I'm going to take you over to the grow houses, show you a few neat plants that we are growing here at the nursery. And also, I'm going to be putting together a custom pot for a customer. So I thought we would maybe wrap that up at the end. I'll show you what I find around the nursery. Also, trying to show you a few new plants that we have this year. So if you will, come along with me here at Sanders Nursery, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of what's going on here in spring of 2025. So let's go. So first of all, I wanted to bring you here to one of the grow houses. This is really where all of the plants get their start. We have 3 really large grow houses here on the property. Of course, we sit on 80 acres right here on the banks of the Arkansas River, just outside of Tulsa. And it is really a perfect piece of land. It's nice and flat. We have tons of greenhouses. We have tons of growing field. But this time of year, these are really our most important houses. These are the ones that we bring in the small plugs, get them all potted up, get them growing out so that we can sell them to our customers here in green country. And there are just so many plants that start coming in so fast and growing so fast, it kind of gets us really nervous when the weather's not really participating as it hasn't recently. But finally this week we're starting to have some warmer weather. We hope that we got past our last frost just last night, because we've really been holding a lot of these plants out before we take them over to the sale houses. And as you can see, we have so many that are ready. And if you'll just look just over here at our, really one of our popular plants, this is the Proven Winners Supertunia Vista Bubblegum. It is that beautiful kind of hot pink petunia that just grows and grows so well all across the country. And we sell tons of it. And if you look, these actually came in at one point. And of course, there's so many different plants that come in all the time. I can't tell you exactly what week they came in, but just 1.5 to 2 weeks later, you'll just look over to this side. These came in actually just that small amount of time before. And what we do is we have the plants coming in, rotating probably about 2-week intervals, because you're starting to sell product. That is actually going to the sale house tomorrow. Then we'll have these other ones that'll come up and kind of follow up in a couple of weeks. So you've always got to have that new product, those new plants coming on. You can't have everything at one particular type of size and growth out at one rate, or you're going to have everything ready at one time. So we have to plan our intervals for planting, growing out, and then going to the sale house so that we have everything planned out appropriately to get us through the whole season. But I thought this would be a great time just to take you through, show you some neat examples of what it actually looks like over here. Today it's kind of probably 89, 90 degrees in here, so I'm a little sweaty right now, but just outside it's in the mid-50s, so you'd never know that from being inside one of these houses. But let's continue to go around. I want to show you a few more plants over in the grow house, show you how things are looking, and then we'll head back over and show you a little bit more in the sale house. Oh, and I have to stop and show you, of course, one of my favorites. This is the Proven Winners Truffula Pink Gomphrena. Makes this wonderful, nice mound in the bed. And you know what I really like about this is it's not a typical flower shape. I like that it's just kind of a ball. It reminds me of like having polka dots all in the garden. So again, it's coming on nice and strong. A great addition to the garden. We also recommend this for landscapers when they're putting in flowers to neighborhood entrances, where something that they don't want to do a lot of maintenance on, but they want something that's different. I actually tell them to mix this in and use this kind of as a background plant, and then use the Supertunia Vista Bubblegum in the front if they're going for all pink. Just makes a really neat display, and having this different shape at the back kind of breaks it up instead of just being one huge mess. So again, these look like they're going to be ready to go over to the houses, so we'll be seeing those over shortly. Now let's go on down. I want to show you some new Diplodenia and mandevillas that we're growing this year. Let's go. All right, y'all, I've got to show you these. They're all racked up and they're getting ready to go over. These are the Sun Parasol Fired Up Orange Dipladenia. I think these are going to be a huge seller for us this year. I believe we have around 2,500 of these. Orange is a very popular color for us here. It's one of the collegiate colors for OSU. And orange and deep red always sells really fast. But with this being a new plant for us, something that's vining and growing, I think it's going to be great in containers to grow up trellises. Also, maybe out in your garden on maybe some fencing that you might have. But orange always sells really, really fast for us. And just look at the blooms. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. And so many buds even coming out behind all of the blooms. Again, a new plant for us this year. The Sun Parasol Fired Up Orange Dipladenia. Again, I think they're going to go really fast, but I certainly think I want to use them in the container that we're going to do here in just a few minutes. I think it really sets off really well with that lime green that I'd pulled that container for. I know we're not going to have it long, and something you should certainly be looking for at your garden center. So let's go on down. There's one more that I want to show you before we hop over to the next growing house. And just look at this. This is the Sun Parasol Bluephoria mandevilla. First time to have it this year. It is a beautiful tropical, growing, I believe it was 1 to 2 feet tall, maybe 2 to 3 feet wide, and just spreading and blooming continuously all summer. This color is such a knockout. You all know, purple sells really well here at the garden center anyway, but having a new plant, having something vining in such a beautiful, vibrant purple, I think this is, again, is going to be another great seller. It's been a little slower on the growing end. The Fired Up Orange seems to have a little bit of a jump start. We got them in at the same time, so you never quite know how they're going to grow. So these will probably go over to the greenhouse maybe 2 to 3 more weeks. We'll give it a little bit more time in these warmer temperatures over here to really start to push it. But again, a plant to look for in your garden center this year, the Bluephoria mandevilla. All right, let's go over and grab a few more plants before we head over, and we're going to have to get started on that container soon. So let's go. So as you can tell, there's a lot of growing going on. This is the landscaper house where we do a lot of landscaper flats that go out kind of in bulk all around the area to a lot of landscapers putting in a lot of bedding plants in neighborhoods, hospitals, commercial properties, and things like that. We have thousands and thousands of flats. As you can tell, this is just a portion of what we grow here at Sanders Nursery. We're just right on the peak when everyone's wanting this product. We're trying to get it all finished up, get it on out. A lot of the landscapers actually come into the grow houses. We load their trucks up just outside the door here so that we're not double handing a lot of this product. But again, it's certainly time to get a lot of this product out. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks, but while this is kind of finishing up growing, now we're going to head back over. I'm going to show you actually some finished product that's out for customers to buy right now. We'll see if I can find some extra goodies to put in some of those planters that I'm doing. So let's go over to the big house now. So I brought you back over to the main greenhouse. Of course, this is our main selling house that we have. We have 3.5 acres under one single roof. This is our main selling greenhouse. Of course, we have our tree beds and we have our other shrub beds on the other side of the building, but this is kind of where all the main selling goes on. And certainly as the weather improves, this will just be absolutely filled. We just had another frost last night, so that's why we haven't brought everything over. But I think it is a great place to come for me to pick the plants I'm going to use for the container today. And what I'm going to be focusing on is something to go with that lime green container. And I've decided to go with a really pretty, vibrant orange. I think another great choice, maybe even some sun patience. This is the compact electric orange. Sun patience do so well here in the Tulsa area. They just bloom all summer long. They love the heat. and they continually put on a really nice show. Look for plants that are going to sustain the weather where you are. You know, here in Oklahoma, we have kind of extreme weather. We have really strong winds that go throughout the spring, and then by summertime, we have this relentless dry heat that really beats down. We can easily get up to 110, 115 for a few days in the summer each year. So some patients actually do quite well. Again, what's important is to kind of think about your location, actually where you're going to be placing the plants, if they're going to be under a porch, if they're going to be out in the sun. And that certainly helps you make a lot of the right decisions on having the plants grow really well, if you're wanting to not have to tend to them very much. Again, just kind of knowing your location and knowing your environment is very important. I'm going to go and grab just a couple more things, and then we're going to head up and try to get this container through. I think it's about 15 minutes to closing time, so it's starting to get quiet around here, and I want to get that wrapped up before we leave today. So let's maybe step over in the perennials and see what we can find over there. So one of the requests that I had from the customer that I'm working on the custom container is they wanted some smell. You know, so many flowers don't really have a fragrance anymore. But this agastache, it's Paquito orange, a great orange color for the summer, actually has kind of a minty fragrance to it. Also a great plant to use in your border if you have trouble with deer, which we do out at the farms. Mixing annuals and perennials, it especially gives you different types of shape of foliage, different growth patterns. A lot of your annuals are going to bloom most of the time, but the perennials will kind of come and go. All you'll have to do with this agastache is give it a little haircut. It'll flush back out. But again, just look at that really unique texture. And again, the fragrance being kind of a mint is just absolutely wonderful. But if you'll notice right here, you know, when we were at the house, we were talking about the blue salvia, which is already in bloom out there. This is the Blue Bayou salvia, and it is already growing out at the house, doing wonderful. We are stocked up here at the nursery, as you can tell. We're expecting a busy weekend, so we've been really bringing in a lot of plants. Laura, who heads up our perennial department, has done a great job. You come back here probably Sunday afternoon, this will be 3/4 of the way gone. We really go through a lot of plants this time of year. But as you can see, when they're this beautiful, I mean, how can you resist? And if you look really closely around, you'll already see the pollinators. I see a couple of bumblebees over there. So it's certainly time to be thinking about those pollinator plants for the bees, butterflies, and the hummingbirds, which will be coming in again too. Let me grab a couple more things. I want to take you out on the side and show you a shipment that just came in today. We've got a lot of new products we've got to get in, and then we'll head up and we'll get that container finished. So let's go look at this. I about forgot. I definitely wanted to show you these rose trees because they're in bloom today. They're absolutely covered in blooms. Just look at this. This is from the Sunblaze series. I believe this one is Sunblaze Amber. It's absolutely covered, and there's just tons of little buds all up in there as well. Great patio plants to have around your home. Certainly you want to keep them in the full sun so they'll get lots of blooms, and also add lots of fertilizer because they're heavy feeders. We also have them in the double knockout as well. Again, another great rose standard to have. But again, a great selection here at Sanders Nursery. They're just now coming in. We're going to have more of those coming up. So many fun, unique plants, and you'll certainly want to come back here to the rose section to check them all out. So one last thing I wanted to show you out on the side. This is kind of the receiving side. We're on the west side of the large greenhouse. We had 4 trucks that came in just today, and I tell you, we have such a great group of guys that do so much hard lifting and moving every day, and I don't know how they do it just day after day. But just look at all the great new product that came in today. And why I wanted to show you over here, one of our most popular shrubs is this phantom hydrangea. They always go really fast because they get the most gorgeous large blooms. We sell lots of limelight primes, bobos, but phantom is still a huge seller for us, and we got a new shipment of those in. They're all come in, I've noticed, with some new little buds on them, so these actually will be going really fast. But just a lot of new beautiful plants. We've got assortments of red buds. I see arborvitae, pine is over there, a lot of topiary has come in, and then smaller shrubs like boxwood and spirea just constantly coming in the door. We have such a great team here at Sanders. I just wanted to do a shout out to them and thank them for all they do. We certainly couldn't do it without having such a great, dependable, and hardworking team, and really do appreciate having them work alongside us every day. So Looks like it's getting close to 5. So let's head inside. Let's work on the container, something fun, and we'll get today's tour wrapped up for you. All right, so now we finished up our little tour, and I think it'll be time to put this container together. Again, I really thought this was a really unique container. We got this from Campania. It's the Prism planter, and they have sold so fast. I really didn't order that many of them, but it's been a great container, something unique and different. And the customer that bought this wanted something unique and different to be planted inside. So that's why I thought I would put this together with you, kind of think of something different, and just kind of walk you through some of the steps of the things I thought about, and we'll see how it turns out together. So I decided, instead of having something really major that made a statement in the middle, I was actually going to make a framework to carry this dipladenia. I think it'll be great to have this vine growing up, a little bit of a structure in this container. So I'm going to try to make something a little unique. So just bear with me. It'll take me a little time to kind of get it all wired in, but I think it's going to really turn out to be fun and neat. So I'm actually taking this bamboo and I'm going to cut it down so that it's not so tall, because this isn't one of the taller containers. I'm going to cut it into pieces. I'm going to be putting this in at an angle. Come in with another piece, kind of put it at a little bit different angle. And then my final one, I'm actually going to do a trio of these coming out, building kind of a contemporary teepee, so to speak. All right, so now this piece is going in. Now I'm going to build kind of a contemporary framework to kind of go around the top of it. So I kind of want some cross pieces to actually come in. I'm going to wire these in. I think it'd be neat to actually be able to get that vine to grow up and then actually across. I think that would be something kind of different. So I'm going to go in with my bark wire. This is my bark wire. I love bark wire. It's used in all kinds of circumstances. I'm just going to go in, tie it off. I'm not going to worry about what the wire looks like right now. Just try to get it halfway secure, tying it around itself. This, of course, is one of the things I like doing here at the nursery. Is people always use plants, but don't always use a lot of other elements to add to containers. And I think it's what makes a garden center unique. If you think of different ways to make containers each year for customers that have just kind of a unique flair to them. Actually, since those are kind of on the same plane, I'm actually going to raise this up just a little bit. I think that would be kind of nice, thinking that maybe I'm the back of this container, it's down front. This could be up against a wall or maybe against some steps as you go into a house. All right, of course the bark wire is a little messy, but I'm gonna leave it like that right now so that we can get our plants planted. So I'm gonna come in first with this fired up orange dipladenia. I'm gonna put 1 or 2 in here. I wanna be able to actually connect a couple of the pieces to each of the trellises. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. I've also already added some Osmocote into my planting medium here, my potting soil. So I'm just going to come in. I'm actually going to kind of come into the center here with the dipladenia, making sure I kind of put it close to one of the bamboo pieces so that it can start to climb up in time. Then I'll come in with another one. And again, I think this is going to be the showstopper. You know, looking at these when we were over at the grow house, I think they're going to sell so quickly because they're really a unique bright color this year. Again, putting it close to the structure so that it can grow up. And I'm actually going to put one more. I think it needs it. I think it needs it. So I'm actually going to add this one over here to this third leg so that it has something to grow up that side. Just so that there's not just a totally empty space right in the middle, I think I'm going to use maybe some of this agastache. This was the Paquito orange, I believe it was. So I'm going to add that in there. Nice healthy roots. And this is that plant I was talking about. The customer asked, they wanted something with fragrance. So this will be great. It'll also be great for the pollinators, bringing the pollinators in to this planter as well. So I'm going to put this down here in the center. I'm going to come in with a little bit of green accent. I like this Plectranthus. I like how it has a little bit of a lighter shade, a little bit of white. See how everything in here right now is all kind of one shade of green? I think this will be a nice plant to kind of break that up just a little bit. So put that over on this side. This is the Plectranthus I like because you can actually get it to trail or you can get it to go up depending on how you kind of train it. It actually is a little trainable. So I'm going to add that in there. And then for something down front, I'm actually going to add this Meizu vine. It certainly is a unique plant, kind of in the succulent type of family, and looks great hanging over containers. Does really well in hanging baskets as well. And I think I'm going to come in with maybe just a little bit more orange, something a little bit bright and splashy as well. This is the passion fruit lantana. Used this plant last year for the very first time in the landscape and in some containers, and I loved it. It bloomed all season long. So I'm going to add, actually going to add 3 of these passion fruit lantanas to the container. I'm going to come in, I'm going to put one here back here by the Plectranthus. And then for something even more unique, may get tall and flashy, I'm going to add some eucalyptus. You know, this grew really well for me last year. It actually grew a little too long, but I think it'd be nice to have it toward the back of the container to grow up, create a little bit of different feeling movement in the back, a little different leaf structure. So looking around, kind of seeing what I think it might need. I actually think I'm going to come in with a couple of these electric orange sun patiens. These actually do so well. If everything else kind of gets to a point where it's not blooming, these sun patiens seem to just continue to bloom all the time. So I'm going to add a couple of these. Again, just look at the variation. It's kind of subtle, but the variation in the orange tones that I'm putting in here. Actually going to tuck this one down here. We're going to run the Dipladenia over this way to get it up to the bamboo, and then I'm going to put another sun patient over on the other side. Again, all of these plants can take the sun really well. The Plectranthus can be a little questionable, but I have mine out in the sunshine every year and I don't seem to have a problem with it. So I'm using it in sun and shade containers most of the time. Again, I'm going to try to work this in here. And yes, I do like to put a lot of plants in a pot. I always have a lot of questions and comments like that, but you know, when customers come and they pick up at their containers, if there's a spot, they're not really happy. They like to have full containers. They're paying us to put together something that actually is kind of full on the front end. Then if you have 1 or 2 plants that peter out, you have something else that's going to take up its space. So I don't worry too much about that. Now I'm going to take a minute, since this is a large container, I can't really switch it around. So I'm going to step out front and see what I think it might be missing. I need something here to the front. Also, I'm going to look at the shape. I'm going to come up and think about this maybe a little bit. May raise this up a little bit. Again, I still haven't finished what I'm going to be doing there. Could actually do a couple different things. You know, to add some unique structure, I thought about using these moss balls, and these are just unique little crafting balls that you can get at your local craft store. They also make unique accents if you don't want to always have a plant somewhere. you can put these in. So I may put a couple of these in and then decide if I need any more plants to fill in. I like using just a normal stick for these. Put them into the planter. I like using just some kind of normal twig or something to put these into the planter. And now what I'm going to do is come in and actually try to cover up my mechanics here where I have all this crazy wire going on. I'm actually going to take some of this lime green deer moss, using it right here at the bends where the wire is located. I'm going to take a few clumps. I think it just needs a little bit more of a punch of orange in the back. So I'm going to go in with this Nemesia because it's so pretty. Just look at those colors. Look at all the different tones of orange. Actually a little bit of red in there. Oh, I love it. We only have a few of those left. We have a beautiful kind of deep purple that we use this year. Again, don't scream at me because I'm putting a lot of plants in there. This is going to be for the customer. You know, they want to see it instantly, have a lot of color. This Nemesia will not hold out throughout our hot summers, so it'll probably go away and then it will all be filled in. So let me walk around front, see how it looks. Again, something different. Trying to think of something different to go with the style of the container, give the customer something unique. Again, not always using plants everywhere, using some different accents. I think that turned out kind of fun. Of course, having a complementary container would be great. You could do something really similar, creating some really tall kind of bamboo fretwork in this one. Again, having the Diplodenia come up. You know, another thing, let me just show you this real quick. Thought it would be another unique thriller to go in the pot are these cannas. This is a dark leaf orange blooming canna. This certainly could sit here in the middle. And you can just imagine the height that this would get throughout the summer. Of course, it's going to have to be in the sun. It's going to grow and bloom. And then maybe some fun grasses. Look at that, how wonderful that would be. Great compliments. So again, just kind of staying in the same color range, I think makes a huge statement instead of mixing it up with too many colors. It's really just green and orange that we've done in this container. And then also thinking of some unique elements to add. Unique things that you might find at the craft store. I love moss, use moss for all kinds of different arrangements that we do around here. Again, just think to do something fun and different and go kind of out of your box. You know, I'm not a real big contemporary person, so this certainly is out of the box for me, but I think it turned out great. I wouldn't mind having this at my house, even though I'm very traditional. I think it's very fun and unique, and I think it would be a great planter to have throughout the summer months for sure. So it's time for me to get things cleaned up so I can actually go home and enjoy the evening. And remember, if you liked this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and follow me, the Preppy Gardener, and I'll see you in the next video.